Welcome back. Okay, catch my breath. Yeah. Okay, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Say with me. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Blessed is he who comes in the name, characteristics, attributes of the Holy One, and in his kingdom forever and ever. Well, Sermon on the Mount. That's where we are. We're talking about Messiah and his teachings. We've learned about his personality, his persona, learned about his mission. Now we're talking about how he brought that mission to bear by going into his teachings. First of his teachings is the Sermon on the Mount. Again with Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. And he went up on the mountain. See the crowd, the multitude below. He went up on the mountain. He called his disciples unto him. They came to him, and they sat at his feet. And he opened his mouth and taught. So that's where we start today. He is teaching them. And I can say our prayer and pray every week for our Father. The hour has come. Glorify your Son. And your Son may also glorify you. As Yeshua prayed, that word, be not joined in praying, may we all one. United with him. May the love with which you loved him be in us. May you be seen and known through us as you were seen and known through him. Amen. That's our objective, that's our goal. Now the masses wait for us at the base of the mountain. Masses of clean and unclean. Masses of holy and profane. And the mixture of all those here levels. All those people that we may think of as saints, may think of as sinners, wait for us at the base of the hill. How do we interact? What do we have to offer? What does he want us to give to them that the world is not giving to them? That the religion of the world is not giving to them? That the political system of the world is not? What does he have from heaven to bestow upon us, to give to us, to teach us that we can use to change the world in his way, on his time? He wants to prepare a high impact group, disciples, that will be unlike anything the world has ever seen before. That will give the hungry and hurting and broken people and the multitude below what they really need, rather than what the rest of the systems and institutions would give. And how we can do this. It seems like an overwhelming task. We may be good at religion. We may be good at politics. We may be good at ideology. We may be good at education. What can we do about sharing the heavenly wisdom that we be given in ways that will actually be received and acted upon by people to their healing, to their health? What is he going to give us to offer that will empower them to change their world? Well, he began in chapter 5. There's 3 chapters of this sermon. We read it today is the English version of the Bible. It was given live, real speech, a speech that he gave. And it has 3 points. Now, I think it's largely where Baptist speak a 3-point sermon. It's got 3 points in the sermon. Chapter 5 is 1, chapter 6 is 1, and chapter 7 is the 3rd point. It's the point in which he begins to drive things home. Chapter 5 is the introduction. And chapter 5 is about the disciplines of the heart, the circumcised heart. We start with the attitudes. And it begins to say you need to have certain, and if we're going to take 7 out of context, which is where people do today, it starts out judge not what you be not judged. For what judgment you judge, you will be judged. If people take that out of context and don't understand that this is part of his speech, a large speech, that depends upon the predicate of number 1, chapter 5, and number 2, chapter 6. Only then we qualify to understand what he means by judge not, that you be not judged, because then that tells us why not to judge. Chapter 5, what was the context? What we find in chapter 5? The disciplines of the heart. Because he says, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribe and the Pharisee, they had disciplines of the mind. They had disciplines of the memory. But they didn't have disciplines of the heart. What were the disciplines of the heart? Anybody want to speak about what some of those words? Remember some of you? What are some of the disciplines of the heart? That it may shift. This criteria, this is level is important. If we're going to be able to provide the world, and if we're going to provide to people what they need, we've got to have the disciplines of the heart. So what are they? Okay, so we start with the attitude. We know the attitude. Entree, going straight toward the target, on task, on time, effectively working, operating, are those who are poor in spirit. Number one, poor in spirit. In other words, you're not arrogant, you're not proud, you don't think you know everything. You don't think you know more than they do. You know what you know, and that's all you know who you know. So blessed those who mourn, who have the capacity to feel things and sympathize and empathize with other people in their pain. Now, we see how that has to do with judgment, right? If you do not have the capacity to feel their pain, then what are you thinking of doing judgment? You're just a retired soldier of fortune out there. You see the problem? Hopefully, you see the problem. Don't get it. So, if the folks who want us losing more, go straight, straight, one on task, on target, on time, with those who are poor in spirit, and those who are mourn. Blessed those who are what? Meek, not swelled up. And meek means you understand your relationship to God and His calling upon your life. It's not your ministry you're dealing with here. It's not your righteousness that you're done. It's the King's will being done. Surrender to the King's will like a horse surrenders to his owners. Reins, the pull, the bit, the rein. That's what it is. Blessed are those who make peace and create shalom. Who understand their idea is not to speak truth. Don't they will not lie. But people say that how will I do about I'm speaking truth. Well, shut up about your truth unless you've got the heart and compassion that goes with it. The truth is not just a bunch of empirical realities or facts. The truth is the kingdom of heaven coming to earth and changing things for the better, not just speaking stuff, but it's truth. So, as this issue of making peace, our job, our task is always to take a situation that's full of stress and bring some level of shalom into it. And if we don't have it, we can't give it. Oh, so you see, this one's the heart. Hold on to your shalom because it's the most valuable asset you got. Hold on to your humility because without it, you're going to be cruising for a fall. And you're going to send the wrong message. And it goes on. Listen, those who rejoice when you're persecuted. When people say, oh, they're evil against you and persecute you for my name's sake, rejoice. In other words, you have the capacity to keep the joy no matter what happens. You have an indestructible, this one's the heart. If you're not feeling joy right now, you're saying you're off target. If you're a depressed soul, do not go around telling my stories to people. You're going to pollute it with your anger. If you're mad, at some group or some person, or something, if you're speaking evil of Trump or the Democrats, if you're doing this stuff, you're objecting to the political system in the world. There's war. Then shut up about the kingdom. Because you cannot speak it without your bias, your intoxication coming into the world. You can't be playing those games at the same time. The world will say about it. So, this one's the heart. He said it's time, this one's the heart dealing with how you relate to Torah. Remember the last part of chapter 5. In the last part of chapter 5, he said, now I didn't come to destroy the Torah. I came to make it full, take full life. And to do that, it has to go down into your heart. The level of your heart and your speech and your thought and your effect and your emotion with other people. So I said, you heard it said, do not kill. But I say you take it deeper than that. Circumcise. Use those words, and circumcise your heart. Or not only will you not kill anybody, you won't even want to kill. You won't even be angry enough to kill anybody. You won't be offended enough to kill anybody. You will make them go down the road the first step because you see the circumcised heart. This is the heart. So before we get to the issues of judging people, understand you want to do no harm. And the heart level, very get depth of who you are. Not stopping yourself, stifling yourself last second, I'm not gonna kill him, I'm not gonna kill him, I'm not gonna kill him. I want to, but I don't. You're not gonna go there. Because if you do, you're gonna want to have those people follow them. So you see how you stall the order, you go down with the order, you open it. You know, don't sit there, well, I didn't go to bed, but do you understand when you start getting tempted, tested, you wanted this, you let your mind drift, you make your heart go away from me to some person or object, and now you're polluted, corrupt, you're intoxicated. Hormones begin to get involved. Feelings begin to get involved. You see the problem with this. The circumcision of the heart goes on different levels. Speech. So then came chapter 6, part 2 of the discourse. Chapter 2 of the discourse had to do with the disciplines of public motivation and public acceptance. It says, when you fast, check your motive. Check why. If you're doing it because you want people to notice that you're doing it, you're looking for the favor of men, or you want to impress people, or you want to be thought spiritual. If you've got any thought whatsoever of how they are going to receive what you're doing, just don't do it. You didn't want to say that. That's not my extrapolation. If you want to do this because you want to get attention, every human being needs a little more attention. That's not the way to get it. Same thing with regard to prayer. When you pray, don't repeat things vainly and just say things like you think you want to convince God to do stuff. Do it in your private, in your chambers, in your secret place. Get alone with God and surrender to it, and let Him fill you up who you are. And that's what prayer really is. Nobody knows besides you. You may not even realize what just happened to you because He did something special. And you've got something to give now. You don't have to give and tell people what to do. I'm trying to get you to give something. So this one's a bad. If you're motivated, if you're affected by intoxicated by worry and anxiety, why are you worried? Why exactly are you worried? What do you think you can control in this world? You can control what you eat. Only to some level. Only to some degree. You can control yourself. Like it's told you like that tomorrow. Think come by and steal your coat. You know, understand in this world you are so, but don't lose your alone, don't lose your joy. If you can't do that, then you're going to have a hard time seeing people the way I see them and feeling the compassion the way I feel. So you got all these sorts of different ways of what not to be motivated by, and how to keep the disciplines of the heart going, and being ready and sober. Having that sobriety, we talked about the first section, to be able to actually take what God gives you and release it in the proper way, proper time, the proper reason, the proper way. Yes. So, here we are at the top of the mountain. We're going to go down. Now, sooner rather than later, about that time. We're going to go down the mountain. When we get down there, you know what's going to be down at the bottom of the mountain? Sin. Sinners. Dirty, stinking sinners are going to be on the bottom. Prostitutes. Hypocrites. They're going to be right down there, waiting for us. Because they want to get even, they want to get words of prophecy. They want to get words of comfort and encouragement and education. They inventory them sinners. Maybe we ought to go back to this one so hard. And we want to repeat stuff about the similitudes and the beatitudes and go back into the whole idea of why I'm thinking and what I'm doing here, what it's all about, why you need it. Okay, so if you're thinking that I'm going to have to deal with those sinners, I don't really want to do that. I just want to be up there with you. I like it up here. Just put your mission down there for them. So he says, okay, now when you go back down there, what do you think they need? What do you think I want you to give? Do you really think what I want you to do is go down there and judge them of the sinner? Now, I'm not saying they didn't sin, but do you think that's your mission? Is to go down there and tell everybody and let their mind get repulsed and disgusted about what they do? And he told them in your most righteous soul that these people are doing such bad things and expose them and condemn them and criticize them and call down fire and judgment upon them. Is that what you think this is all about? Because if you do, let's go back to square one. You're not past go, you're not close to $1. You haven't heard a word I've said. Matthew 7:1, it has to be consistent, not exactly 5, and Matthew 6. If you know why you're here, you will not judge. That's not your job. I'll take care of judgment. I do take care of judgment. That's not insurance. This is the Father. Father will take care of judgment in the proper time. But that is not our job. So he says, judge not, just be unjust. So he's like, well, wait a minute, let's look at Torah, and let's see if the people who judge this count from equity. How about Ham? How did Ham? What did Ham? Anybody remember the story? Noah. He was so good. He did so many good things. He built the ark and he put the animals on it. And he took care of it for the whole year and all that kind of stuff. He went out and planted the garden. He tried to make the garden weed and come back again. But you know what happened? Sometimes you get a little carried away. You drank a little too much of that fruit of the vine. And you drunk, just fall down. It's not advisable, not a good plan. Fell down drunk, unclothed, naked. That's the best spin we put on this whole scenario. And here comes Ham. He's the guy coming down the mountain. Yeah. He's lost. Those people don't know their gift from the Holy Ground. They don't know spirit from flesh. Those people are cruel and evil and bad. It's horrible. Let's go tell everybody about it. Let's go put it on Facebook now. Evil Donald Trump is. First of all, Donald Trump is not in your world. You got nothing to say. Or Joe Biden. Or Kamala Harris. It's not our job. It's not in our security. It's not our world. The bots are trying to get it into our world. The bots are trying to convince us we got something to say about that. And the bots are wrong. We don't have nothing to say. We do what we call it. These we call it. So here's the situation. So Adam comes down, sees his father in his tent, unclothed and naked and drunk as stuff. He goes out. There's only 2 people in the world. Like his wife, but you got 2 brothers. He runs and tells 2 brothers, "Do you see what my dad? He's drunk. He's naked." I know what kind of. How did it work out for this fan? This is the beginning of second. First thing we read about. To connect the dots here with Torah and with Rashad's teaching. That's just one example. How about Judah? They bring this pregnant woman to him, Tamar, his daughter and former daughter. Twice his former daughter. They bring this woman to, and she is pregnant with another man. She's not been with. She's done big in the belly. Carrying that child with child in the womanly way, uncertainty way. And Judah looks at her and they say, "What are you going to do?" He says, "Burn her at the stake." She's an idolatrous, she's a whatever. And so he orders it. How'd that work out for him? Second level judgment, Ham judgment. Everybody that became in the whole issue, probably bloodlines. First of the goal. I would have Judah, and Judah is like feeling real proud of himself. I told them something. I spoke truth. She's an adulteress. She's a fornicator. She's a, I spoke the truth. And she says, excuse me a second. Before you carry out that punishment, can I do one little thing? I just happen to have a rod staff and seals. I just want to know if you know who it is. With what judge will you judge? It will be judged right back to you. And Judah was humiliated and humbled and brought low, and it was the worst moment of his life. He just condemned his own child to death in the fight. Of course, it didn't happen. Two children, actually, twins. One of which is going to be the seed of Messiah. Now, you see what we do when we try to judge people. Oh, can we judge? Do we know something? Does that's the belfry or the grocery milk? Oh, it's true. So, this judgment, maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe this idea of having this right to stand in an ivory tower and tell people what's going wrong out there in the world, maybe that's not the way we're supposed to be doing this.
I know, yeah.
What's going on? I knew, yeah. So let's don't forget, let's don't stop there. What's a good other good one? I think of another. Well, I guess it's Cain. Okay. Cain was really mad at God. It's your fault, God. You hear all these folks that say he wants to kill, call genocide about all these different people and all these races. He wants to kill the Canaanites. He wants to kill all these people. It's like, you really believe this? This is what you really want to die? You don't blame God for the world? No, it's not that. Well, this is the Cain syndrome, the Ham syndrome, the Judah syndrome. We could go on and on and on. It should really come down to, is this judging thing a good idea? Isn't it helpful? Now, the real issue is, yes, we're going to deal with sin. I'll be okay with this. I started to say some of the people we're going to have to deal with that are in our ministry circle, service circle, are going to be sinning. Now, I probably got before I said that. It's like everybody in our ministry circle, in our family, in our household, everybody in our neighborhood, everybody in our community, anybody on the news or on social media, everybody is a sinner. And if you look in the mirror, you might find one too.
Many.
So maybe this idea of sitting in an ivory tower and judging other people, maybe it's not a good plan. Maybe Yeshua knew what he was talking about, and he meant what he said. Maybe he knew that if that's what we do, if that's what we offer the world, that he given them nothing they ain't had. Religion, the political system, nothing they had never seen before, and it hadn't helped them yet. To the contrary, everybody who does it winds up worse off, and their family ends up worse off than before they ever started the process. So maybe this is not the plan to expose people's sin. I get so many people. I'm exposing sin and unrighteousness and injustice. I hate to think about where this is going to wind up for you, brother. This is not the plan.
Did it start with Adam accusing Eve?
Well, there you go. Adam accusing Hava, and then Hava accusing Eve. We can always find somebody to blame if somebody did something wrong. Now, the issue is, what are we going to do with it when we do? That's the question about having this issue of, okay, so what happens when we encounter a sinning person? And sometimes we encounter them in person, and sometimes we hear about it. This is what is really dangerous, because we're not even there. We didn't see it. We don't know the facts behind it. We don't have any information. But well, we hear it on social media, so it must be true. And we actually get polluted, contaminated. then we begin to contaminate, pollute everything we say, everything gets colored, everything we say. It says, you know, I want to take you to part 3 of the covenant, the priest's responsibility. And part 3 of the responsibility is, do not think you're here to judge. Even though you possibly could, you have the right knowledge, you have information. At least you have some items in God knows some mercy. Bible spoke to them. Still don't judge. Because it's not your job. And to the contrary, it will just create an atmosphere. It's kind of like we talk about the stench of death. Talk about the stench of death. It could be a dying rabbit or a dying deer, or a dying squirrel, and the buzzards smell the dying stench. And they start circling, and into the buzzards are unclean spirits, or the allegorical unclean spirits. And so here we are, we're going to have the stench of death because it's coming out of our mouth. This is why modern religion, including Christianity, is so far off the ball. And we're all guilty of it. I get that. But at least we're hopefully listening. Finally getting the message here. Messiah is trying to teach us is, you think you're here to be in ivory towers judging the rest of the world, and the raging nations, and the leaders, and political leaders, and the personal people out there doing sin. They know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You're not helping anything by pointing it out. Find something that has a way to heal it, to soothe it, to correct it, fix it.
So when you try to correct your child,
Yeah.
you don't try to judge. You try to say like, hey, I don't like this because people, really like people, these kind of people doing this. Did you judge people?
I've done it both ways. I confess, I've done it both ways.
This is for me. Tell like, don't do that because yeah, you know.
Well, let's take it back to the Torah, because you should always take it back to the Torah. So what? We're in the book of Leviticus, and we're in the Kedusha discourse. So this is the right place. Right after the center of the Kedusha discourse, there's something called the love chapter. So, you know, 1 Corinthians 13 is the love chapter. New Testament, Paul's writings, whatever. But the love chapter of the Torah came before the love chapter of Paul. The love chapter of Torah is chapter 19 of Leviticus. Chapter 19 of Leviticus has a section in it that talks about you and your brother who's sinning. He says, first of all, don't be a talebearer. Don't be an exposer or a mocker telling people about all their sin. Don't be a ham. He didn't say don't be a ham, but that's the idea. Don't be a ham. Now, just don't be a talebearer among your people. And it's just, do not carry the sin of your people, absorb the sin and carry the sin of your brother. But in English, it really just rebuke. It says rebuke. This shall surely rebuke. Thou shalt surely rebuke your brother. Now, that sounds like we're supposed to judge them, right? So if you don't look at the Hebrew, you're going to think, well, I got the Torah command. I'm supposed to judge them. I'm supposed to condemn them. I'm supposed to accuse them. I'm supposed to rebuke them. And rebuke to me means I'm in their face. Don't walk. Sit in my ivory tower. Use my ivory tower tongue. Ivory tower tongue. So, use my ivory tower tongue to tell them what you're doing wrong and how bad it is, how bad they deserve to be punished. You're going to hell. This is my first experience on the streets of New Orleans. Well, then after leaving convention, I'm out there going by Bourbon Street, see what the thing looks like. And there's this preacher out there with a little microphone, and a little amplifier. He's sitting on the street corner, Canal and Bourbon, one of the streets there. And he got a microphone that turned it to full blast saying, "You're all going to hell!" I thought, man, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be associated with that. He didn't know these people. He just telling them you're going to heaven. He just going the ivory tower tongue down there without having any offering or anything. He's going to come back later and say, "Oh, we believe in Jesus Christ. We decided to be one." But okay, that really isn't going to solve their problem right now. They got more problems you can deal with. At any rate, so I'm sitting there judging him for judging me. Okay. So well, let's go back to the Torah. What's the Torah say about it? So what does Utah? Well, I said there we go. I gave you the Hebrew word. Yes, first. If we translate that in English, they do. The King James office translated as review. So what does Yitzhak mean? Well, Yitzhak means picture a flock of geese. You notice how geese fly a long way? They migrate, fly a long, long way. They fly that much. And it's a V. It's a V. Flying V. The flying V. And that means that some of the ones out front, the one and the two behind them, it got this V shape like this. The ones in front, they're catching all the wind. And they're getting tired. And the rest of them kind of wrapping up with that. They take some of the pressure's taken off them by virtue of the fact that the ones in front of them are doing all this. And they get tired and eventually they start flailing and altering. And what happens is in America, you see one of the geese has been taking gravity off of the tree. They take off, fly faster than ever, and get in front and take the lead rope. Now, what they do not do is turn around and speak to the geese that's faltering and say, you messed up. You're a bad goose, bad goose, bad goose. You're bad leader, bad leader, bad leader. They just take the front. They just take the front and take the pressure off everybody else. And let others draft off there and make them stand. Show them an example of that until they can't. And one moment they will basically get wear out and somebody else have to take the place. But that's the idea. And what's that called? The goose that comes from behind and goes to the front and takes the lead and becomes a model, the example, and try to vacuum power off of them, that's who you come. So when you want to take the word rebuke, I wish you could take it out of the Bible. That's not what it says. It's take a lead and show people how to do it right. If you don't show them how to do it right, tell them it's wrong.
So when this king rebuked Sarah and Abraham because she was taken into his harem and he didn't have all the information, he was stepping up and providing what needed to happen to change the situation.
And you know how he did that? You remember how he did it?
He gave him money.
He gave them talents of gold. He provided. Why would he, if you're judging him and come rebuke him, why not just speak evil words to him and say how bad you are? No, he's funding them. He is providing them what they need. So that's the actually a problem.
And so it's kind of like the word for judging, shofar, which means to look between the parties and seeing what needs to be provided and provide that for the healing of that situation.
Yeah, so see the situation for what it is and find a passageway through it that will actually need the healing restoration. That's what it's about.
So when Yeshua was saying, judge not, he was using the Hebrew concept, not the Greek or
Pagan nation.
yeah, concept of judging.
Yeah, and in the process of doing so, he's going to say, you're going to be one who yakas the situation and brings momentum in the right direction, and you're going to shafat in the course of it that actually brings about a solution to the problem as opposed to pointing out the decision.
And not everybody is to
Right.
fix the
Right.
situation.
Yeah, and the mission is what exactly is. There is a place and a time for shafat. But when people are in throes of their sin, that's not the time. They are needing to be restored, not be judged. That The Lord will take care of the judging in his time. So notice he keeps saying, judge not, that you be not judged. He's not saying you will never, ever, in no context of your life, will you ever be in a position, in a certain situation, where what you do is a shafat, and you can give people a way forward that includes the healing. He's not saying that you'll never have that. Say, look at your situation, and you're going down to face these multitudes, and down there, they're all sinners, and the throes of sin, and you guys coming from heaven. No, they need right now is not shafat. What they need from you is comfort, compassion, shalom, wisdom, rejoicing, emanah, all the things I'm giving you. Think of are the disciplines of the heart. So he says, do not judge. It's just not what you're supposed to do with people in front of face. So if you do, you know what's going to happen is you're going to be judged by the same thing. You're going to be Judah. You're going to be like Judah with Tamar. So you think you're being so erudite and so important, telling you about what they're wrong, what they did wrong, and it's going to come right back in your face because you got stuff in your life too. And when your stuff comes back all over you, what do you think that does to your standing in the eyes of other people? How righteous do you think the people thought Judah was when Tamar brought forth the rod and the seal? How much influence do you think Judah had? And his word, it went at that particular moment. He said, this is what's going to happen to you. This is what it happens to you, it happens to your family. It happens to your children, it happens to your household. It happens to the people who need you the most. You want to be a distraction, if not a joke, mockery to the world. And that is not going to give me the input that I need to the world. So don't. He says, now, here's the other thing. Let me talk to you a little bit about sex and law. Do you know the difference between a speck and a law? Here's the deal. The specs are going to be divided, the logs are in your eye. It's strange. We go back to the 10 words. So 10 people call them 10 commandments. He did not say the whole mountain spoke with all the everybody. He did not say, your neighbor shall not. Your brother, your neighbor, the raising age, big raising age, they shall not have other gods. He did not say, your neighbor, people around you shall not make graven images. He did not say the people around you, your neighbors and your brothers and other people around the world, they shall not forget myself. Remember myself. They shall not dishonor their father and mother. He said, you don't look around. Don't start thinking about somebody else. He said, you. It's like, when did we change that to my neighbor shall not commit adultery? My neighbor shall not. And if he does, I will give him all kinds of heck for it. When did we make that decision? When did we totally change the words to the Holy One around where it's our job now to tell people what they're not supposed to do? Here's the deal, there's a speck in their eye, but there's a log in your eye. There's a speck in their eye, but there's a log in your eye. So get that log out and then move on. Don't even try to get into judgment as long as that log's in your eye. Judah, Ham, don't even go there because you're taking away the very most important thing that people need from you, which is your ability to stay poor in spirit, meek, a peacemaker into every situation, pure in heart. These are what you need. This one's the heart. This one's of your motivation. We're in chapter 6. If you don't have that, you got logs in your eye. Okay. So he goes on and he says, do not listen. Do not give the holy name to dogs. Now, some people see this as very insulting. And other people say, well, I love my dog. I like my dog better than humans. Maybe she's not good with the dog. Just making a point. What do we say to dog? Dog is acting. A dog will eat until the food is gone. And it will fight anybody else who wants to get in his bowl. Even if he's got plenty of food to eat, because he is territorial. And he is unsafe. He'll eat till he makes himself sick. This is a dog. This is just an innate characteristic of the dog. So he says, don't give your holy things, those things which are holy, the things that I give you. Don't give them to dogs who are getting a slop. Because they're not going to receive them. No, understand, the clean, the unclean, the holy, the impure, the profane. Understand what you're dealing with and what you can give. Can't give holy things to the people in the dog house. They may not be dogs tomorrow, but today they're acting like dogs. In the middle of their voracious appetites and their barking and their snapping and snarling. Don't try to tell them the finer thing to Torah. Try to calm them down. Calm them down. Provide. One thing you can provide is hopefully a peaceful de-escalation whole process. Now, this is a key factor of understanding what we're dealing with. And that we don't get the right to just go in there and speak truth to power. That's what the nation is doing. It isn't working out very well. So what do? Instead, we bring whatever the Holy One gives us, put it in that situation, and the others in have compassion for the people involved. We do what's necessary to stop the bleeding, stop the animosity as much as we possibly can, if we can. But it says, and don't throw that which is holy to the dogs, and don't give your cats your pearl for swine. This is one of those things like, I don't want to be, just an example. I remember when I was in the Jesus movement, and we were so caught up in we're intoxicated. What about the good back? We're intoxicated affection for an issue, or that's great. We were intoxicated with the fact that we didn't really have to understand anybody who just gave them the right message. It's okay. And so, someone would come into our meetings or whatever, our gatherings, or we go out on the street and talk to them, and they were all messed up. We would look in there in the eye, and we would say, brother, there's one way to heaven. Hold out our faith, just like that. This is the theme song of the Jesus movement, okay? There's one way. One way to heaven. We didn't deal with their issue. We didn't have anything to offer them with regard to their pain. But we had theology that we could give to them that said, one way, there's one way to go. And they look at us like, you didn't hear why I'm in the state I'm in. You didn't understand what's going on. You don't have anything to offer them besides the theology. It's one way to go. That's what you did. Well, again, I was guilty. As everybody else was, we were in the process. We meant well. We really did. We didn't mean evil. We meant well, but we didn't give them what they needed. And it paid off sometimes in bad ways. We could run out of town. That's what happens. If you don't give people what they need, they run you out of town. And they probably should. Okay, so it says, don't give what's holy. Your pearl, catch your pearl, what's going to happen? They're going to turn on you. They'll crown them under the feet, and the things that were valuable and important, they'll trample under their feet, and they'll turn on you. And they'll attack you. This is basic wisdom 101. The kingdom principles 101. Learn not to make things worse. Learn not to make things worse. I mean, we could send a message to all the churches and synagogues of the world, the rabbis, the preachers of the world, ordinary folks in the pews and the seats. Just quit making things worse. Before you worry about making it better, just quit making it worse. How do you make it worse? Judge. Throw out theology. Stick up your finger and you know, that's the other thing we did was we were graffiti artists. Holy graffiti. Y'all probably saw some. Go under an underpass on the freeway, on the highway.
Oh, yeah.
John 3:16. We were holy graffiti artists. Did you ever stop and think what this so good? First of all, most of us couldn't write very well. So we had a hard time reading it. What did he write? Joan? Joan? Join? What did it say? John 3:16. What is that? I don't know. I think maybe a Bible verse. I don't know. It really didn't help anything. It didn't make me feel more confused. The death you have to put up and paint over. That's the one you really have to do. Now here's the deal. Can we finally all sit and look at each other face to face and have a come to Jesus moment and say, at least let's quit making things work. Let's quit being the know-it-all, the judge-it-all, critical spirit, the one who's negative about everything. Can we at least quit doing that? We got some movement to make to figure out where we got to go and what we need to do, but can we at least start with quitting making it worse like the rest of the religious world's doing? All right. That's where I got a message this week. It's like very humbling to understand that Yeshua was talking to us like, we do not know what we're doing. His disciples did not know what they were doing. And if you try to rely upon what you've seen other people do out of religion, you're going to really mess this up. We have the opportunity of a lifetime, of an age, of a generation. We have a lifetime opportunity that just can't be missed unless we just make things worse. With all of our pride, our arrogance, and our judgmentalism, and our throwing accusations about specs when we got laws, and throwing pearls before swine, holy things to dogs, messing with them when they're in the middle of their swineness and their dogness. Oh, Yeshua is so good. He's got such a great plan. We got so many problems down here with ourselves. We can't get over it, get into it. He's going to take us there. He's going to take us there soon. He's not going to take us out of here. He's going to put us down there where we belong and keep us straight as an arrow going forward with the disciplines of the heart. Now the disciplines of motivation, disciplines of love, he's going to teach you how to do this right. All right. I'm going to quit. Let everybody talk. What's going on in your head? What are you thinking about?
I was watching Papa B's message earlier. Hold on. Okay. I was watching Papa B's message earlier, and one of the things or a couple of things that he put there, I thought was really key to understanding where we are in our particular time of day and what we're receiving right now. Here's a couple of things that he said. One is that this particular season is really about embracing the fiduciary discipline, right? That's very important that we do that. When we do that, we receive and exude his holiness, right? I thought that was really important, right? Because for the people that we're going to be dealing with, or the people that we're going to be called to impact for his sake, we really need to exude his holiness, right? And not some doctrinal or some belief systems. I've done that, right? And so that doesn't really bring forth life. It actually condemns and it judges and it brings condemnation of it. But I thought this was important is that we're in a season where we receive and exude his holiness. And then he said something that I thought was, he used this terminology, so I'm going to probably be the terminology, but I loved it, all right? He said, this is leading to, or leading up to a leveling up. When they say that, a leveling up, I thought, and Marcy and I was talking in the little break area there earlier, and we really felt like God was doing something in our midst. There's something happening right now, right? And the season is perfect for it. The story part is perfect for illustrating what's happening. We're entering into a leveling up, right? But to level up, we have to embrace this discourse, right? And this embracing the discourse means a lot of times we have to surrender to a circumcision type movement, right?
Cutting.
The cutting away, right, of excess flesh around our reproductive capacities. And that hurts, right? Because he's going to address some things and some issues in our lives that is causing us not to bring forth what he's called us to, right? And in the level and purity of what he's called us to. And a lot of times we get so the flesh that's around, or the corruption that's around our reproductive capacity is coming over time. We allow things to get next to us. We allow things, we hear things, we embrace things, we encounter things, and we don't address those things early enough. And so they become a part of us in some way. And now the thing that we're supposed to be doing, what we're supposed to be releasing, is affected and contaminated by what we allow to attach itself to us. And so he has to take us through a circumcision. That's where he's cutting away all that excess flesh. And it calls us to be more productive. We're bearing fruit, but he wants us to bear much, right? And so he's gonna address those things. But I thought we'll probably be talking about on an earlier this morning, we talked about it's time to level up. I was like, that's what this season is about. That's what this tour is about, and that's what this season is about. It's about leveling up. Yeah.
Well, we were created for ascension. I mean, we to continually cycle up, level up. I mean, isn't that what the scriptures point out too? That every Torah cycle is about going higher, right?
Right.
The songs of ascension
Okay.
are all about leveling up.
And we're in a season where we're reminded of that. This is the 50 days of the 49 days of counting the Omer. Separate out by Omer. The idea, what, day 9? And day 9, sundown today. And the idea is, we don't level up all at once. You level up one little weight at a time. Put on more divine weight, more glory every day. You have a disciplined ascent. Talking about an ascent. An ascent is one step at a time. No elevators. I mean, it's one step up the ladder at a time to get up there. And we got 49 of those every year to remind ourselves that the level up is supposed to happen at Pentecost. Shavuot. That's the level up where we're ready to start fresh and empowered by the Spirit of God and the Torah itself, and those combinations combining with one another, and level that thing up, and now beginning to have impact in the midst of the heat of the summer when things are going crazy all around us. That's the idea of leveling up. So yeah, we've got steps in the process and learning the disciplines of those steps, disciplines of the stairs. The secret of the stairs, as the writer once said, the secrets of the stairs. And that's the beautiful part of where we are. So don't get discouraged if you heard this today and said, well, I'm kind of caught up in doing everything to make things worse as opposed to making things better. That's just drained into me. I've done too much of it in my life. Understand we're on this process of ascent. So start where we are and start building one step at a time until we get closer and closer to leveling up status. Any other thoughts before we go? Yeah.
Kind of along the lines of what Tony was talking about a bit. We were talking about holiness. And I was thinking, we kind of have it backwards a little bit, that everything that touches holiness turns bad. It's kind of the way we think. Like we start running with the wrong crowd, and now we're the wrong crowd. But it's supposed to be the other way around. Anything that touched the holy altar became holy. And so as we get that fire from the altar and in us, then everything around us, there should be a holiness exhibited around us. From the things that we do, the way we live. And last night, as we were counting on, we were talking about this on the hating Randy has a little thing she's put together, she was reading. And last night she was talking about, you know, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is over and now we're re-leavening. And last night it was talking about coming before God and being accountable in the areas you don't want to be accountable. As part of that re-leavening. And, you know, there are all areas that we feel uncomfortable about because we know we're in the wrong and we don't really want to go to God with that. We know it goes anyway. But, you know, it's like hard for us to do. And those are the things I think that she was talking about last night as you're writing it. That's a good place to start as we begin to feel the cabinets back up. As we begin to come in with new leaven, is those hardest areas for us. If we can start with those, the rest becomes more easy. And it becomes, you know, those are places that God has pointed out to us that these need attention in this process of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. He showed us those places. And so those are places that need attention now. And then will leap us forward and help us to be that people that Tony's talking about and part of that circumcision, you know. This is part of it. He's already shown us where we need to be cut, you know, and what needs to be cut out. So, you know, I took that to heart last night and, you know, I was thinking, okay, we need just meditate and chew on that, you know, for this first week of re-leavening, you know, and ask God to show me those areas in particular, you know, that need to be dealt with. Sure.
Okay. You know, when I go to the doctor, I don't eat very often. If I had a sore rib, notice I don't really mind how much he presses on my shoulder. Oh, say it's really good. I don't care if he pushes on my toes, he pushes on my feet, pushes on my back, as long as he's not touching my rib, my ribs, he touches my rib. It's the season.
Yeah.
You gotta touch the ribs. You gotta touch the broken places, places that are hurting and screaming, and that's what throws on. You gotta bring those things you had these services for, because that's the place that really wants to feel and touch. It's time to go, guys. So hope you've had a good morning today. The agony and the ecstasy, right? We have both. Shabbat shalom. We'll see you next week. Don't forget about Kendra's memorial next week.